it's a very, very special Christmas episode. I'm with Kurt and Matty from the Outcharms.
All right. How we doing? Yeah, sound you.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm very good. I don't feel Christmassy though.
I don't think anyone does, mate. It's a weird old year, isn't it?
Difficult with lockdown.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the 5-day thing. They're just, we have that 5 days of freedom, or maybe that make us feel Christmassy. I don't know. If the pours snow over us, then
yeah. Well, it's better than I'm pissing on you, I suppose.
I guess. But anyway, obviously it's been a rubbish year. Obviously
straight in.
Obviously you've been in the band. It's been, I can imagine, being rubbish for you pretty much, because obviously you're a band. You're normally out playing, touring. You haven't had the chance this year. Like, how has that made you feel?
Well, I suppose it's not been that bad for us. We started the year quite strong. We started. We had the support tour with the Ratings, and we had like our big headline. So we had like a flying start. But I think, we managed to get about it. Played Newcastle, Manchester. Where else did we play, Matty? I can't remember. Where else were it? But anyway, we did that tour with them, and we sort of got off to like a really good start. But then it just stopped. It was like someone pulled the plug, you know what I mean? And it felt like we were gaining so much momentum, and then it just
like yanked the plug straight out the socket.
Yeah, it just like disappeared.
Well, I mean, at least you went to. Well, obviously, as this is a Christmas episode, and it can be assumed that you did go to the North Pole, because Newcastle is pretty much the North Pole. So at least
it's virtually the same.
Yeah, but obviously, touring with the Ratings, because obviously you are pretty much from the same area that the Ratings are from, South Yorkshire. Yeah. I can imagine you've got up to all sorts when touring.
We do always have a good laugh when we play with them lads.
We'll not talk about Birmingham.
Yeah, we will not talk. Well, Birmingham. Birmingham was an eye opener, wasn't it, Matty?
Say the least.
Tyson Fury fought that night, and there was this Irish bar open like all night. So we ended up going in there for the fight with Rich, the Ratings manager. He was with us, and copious amounts of alcohol was consumed, and it ended in Matty's dad sort of like dry humping a massive bench in the middle of an Irish bar.
What stays on tour, but I mean, once you've like started drying humping a bench, you can't really move away from that, can you? It just becomes addiction.
I've seen worse.
Well, I mean, obviously. Oh, sorry, I just interrupted. But one of these there.
Yeah, lap dancing in the middle of the dance floor as well.
Oh yeah, someone got a lap dance in the middle of the dance floor. It's arguably the best pub anyone's ever been.
Well, I mean, it's an Irish bar. What do you expect? So obviously it was in Birmingham, so I mean, quite surprised that Birmingham offers that like nightlife.
Yeah.
What we all think of Birmingham up here. And, I can imagine obviously you touring with the Ratings would sort of have like a very sort of special bond, because, well, pretty much you're right. You're pretty much from the same tree.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And I mean, it sounds like there are good lads, and you had a good laugh with them. So I mean, at least that's a positive of the year.
Yeah.
It's a shame that there wasn't any more positives along the year.
Well, I mean, our Lead Mill headline, we're like bang in the middle of that tour. And we managed to sell that out like I think a week and a half in advance. We never expected to, because it's from Doncaster and Sheffield, the close, but you know what I mean. We're not a Sheffield band, we're a Doncaster band, so
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the misconception of people. I don't know views, because obviously, for anyone that isn't pretty much from the north or familiar with like the villages, they assume that you're at a Sheffield band, but he's not. You're a Donny band through and through. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, I guess that frustrates you when people like mistake you for Sheffield rather than Donny.
Yeah, we do get quite. Well, I get quite annoyed about it. Probably quite unnecessarily annoyed, because it's easy for people to associate you with it, that big thing. But
I mean, if it was Northerner, then they'd just be taking the mick there, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, you've got to. You know what I mean? You've got to know your apples from your oranges, haven't you? If you're from the north.
So, obviously, other bands that I've had on this podcast during lockdown have been in rehearsals, recording, playing. Obviously, most of your band are at uni, and obviously, has it been very hard trying to get together during lockdown, or have you managed it? Okay.
We've managed to get together, do a couple of rehearsals, get back in the studio and work on some new stuff. But we sort of changed our approach to writing, you know, not being together the way that we always have been. It sort of changed our approach in terms of like we're all doing little bits of things and sending them each other and using GarageBand to demo a lot more. And it's changed our approach, I think, for the better, because we're writing songs better and quicker than we were before. So I guess you could say that's another positive coming out of this lockdown and everything.
Do you feel like that, obviously, not seeing each other, then do you feel like it has had an impact on like your motivation for songwriting and playing in a positive or negative way then?
Well, I mean, we've been in each other's pockets for like 4 years, 5 years. So yeah, I suppose it were weird, you know, to write without us all being in one room. But I think it's gave everyone else a chance to, you know, maybe do a bit more on their own.
Yeah,
it's easy for us when we're all together just to fall in the trap of like putting it all on one person. Whereas when you're on your own, you know what I mean. You've got to put it in. And you've got to have your own work rate. So yeah, I'd probably say that's been a positive because we've all been like throwing his own ideas into the ring and it's come out. We argue with some of the best tunes that we've ever done. So yeah.
Well, has there been any talk of a Christmas single be released to sort of soften the blow that lockdowns gave to many of your fans? Many of your fans who I can imagine were excited, who have been excited and eager to see you, obviously when lockdown was lifted.
Yeah, I mean, we should have done a socially distanced gig, but I think the week before, the Friday before we should have done it, we got put back into a lockdown. So we're hoping that goes ahead in January. But yeah, we've got the O2 next year. That's obviously not going to be in March. It's probably going to be in September. Well, it's going to get pushed back. Everything's going to get pushed back. It's just sort of making the best out of a bad situation, I suppose.
I mean, like venues like the O2, and for anyone that's not a listener of your band,
yeah,
one of the I can't remember the track, but one of the music videos, one of your tracks is "Use" when you burns.
Yeah. Who's making you smile?
Yeah, making you smile. Playing some like because obviously you look like I wish I could show our viewers the video, but
yeah, we'll link it. Well, I mean, we've got the link.
Ability, yeah, but anyhow, obviously you looked very fresh faced there. You looked like you were playing small local gig. Did you ever think, like when you play that small local gig, that you'd end up playing in the likes of the O2?
I don't think you ever, you know, when you set out to do something like that, I don't think you ever think that it's ever going to get to that point. You just the next big thing, you never think you're gonna better it. You know what I mean? It's like you do one thing and you think, well, where's it go from here? And luckily for us, it just keeps going, you know, a little bit further.
Going up, yeah. Well, I think that thing is because obviously, well, I mean, obviously, I would be getting irritated if people mistook me for Sheffield, but I mean, Sheffield is sort of for a band like Hughes from Doncaster. I guess being known as a Sheffield band has its perks in the UK indie scene.
It does have its perks, but not in the sense of what we're trying to set out to do. I'm sort of trying to set out to, like, you know, the songs that I write aren't about Sheffield because I'm not from Sheffield. They're about Doncaster. They're about people in Doncaster. They're about places in Doncaster. Places like, you know, the Social where we were playing early on, Social, Allcross Sixth Form, and like all stuff like that shaped us as people. They're, you know what I mean, they're the important things. And there's loads of bands come from Donny that are probably bigger than most bands from Sheffield nowadays. Blinders are from Doncaster, Children of the State, Bang Bang Romeo. There's like massive bands from Doncaster who, you know what I mean, they shouldn't be afraid to say that from Donny.
Well, obviously, both years are at university. Obviously, you've spent lockdown at university. Is there one thing in particular that you both like really miss from Doncaster that like gives you that sort of like nostalgia that you sort of like you wish that you could like go back to experience it, but obviously you can't because you
well, obviously I locked down at uni. Matty ended up locking down at home, so I can't say that Matthew was the thing that I miss from Doncaster because that'd be a lie. You know what I mean? It's been nice to get a bit of peace and quiet away from him, but just sort of like being at home where everyone's around you. You know what I mean? The people that have always been there, going to the pub and people knowing your name instead of, you know, getting stared out and stuff like that. Just sort of the, you know, you feel, well, you're at home, aren't you? It's the same way everyone, I imagine.
That's one of the perks of coming from the towns that we're from because it's tight knit. Everyone knows each other, and you go to a pub and you don't stay here like you do a city. Because I can imagine with you going home to Donny, like oh, can I get you a pint? Or like, there's that crack that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Really in a city. But obviously, one thing that I'd like to touch on is it is Christmas, and I have mentioned that.
Just trying to proper drill it home in case, because people, you're trying to make yourself feel Christmassy, aren't you? By keep going on about it.
Exactly. That is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make myself feel Christmassy by telling myself and telling everyone else, oh yeah,
it is Christmas. In case anyone forgot.
But this is one thing that everyone loves, that I personally love when it comes to Christmas time, is Chris Rea, Driving Home Christmas.
You can't beat Chris Rea.
But well, he's from Middlesbrough, and that's why you can't beat him, because he's from Middlesbrough.
That might be true.
Well, it's arguable, but yeah. Anyway, because Chris Rea Driving Home Christmas is the one song that I love to hear during Christmas.
It's my dad's favourite tune, and all. I've heard it non-stop.
Oh, it's got great taste. But one thing I want to know from you two, and I think our viewers are interested in, is what song do you look forward to hearing when it comes to the festive period?
Oh, that's proper hard, actually, because there's loads. Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses.
Never.
I always think's a good one. You'll know it. It's one of them. If someone told you the title,
yeah,
you're like, "What's that?" But then when you hear it, it's the one. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. That one.
I probably know of it, but
that is a classic. Well, that's what I mean. That never gets talked about a lot, and it's I like that one. Paul McCartney, Wonderful Christmas Time as well. Matty,
what was the question? My internet's bad.
You are?
What was the question? My internet's bad.
Oh, brilliant. Favorite Christmas song?
Probably Fairy Tale in New York. It's gotta be.
It's a classic. Obviously the Fairy Tale in New York, the band, the word, the F word, the word from it. Obviously, you obviously, because you have got those people that get sick of or those people that those people that get triggered by people actually being offended. Like, so do you get those people that are offended by songs? You get people that
are offended by the people that are offended.
Exactly, and even Shane McGowan came out and said, we don't want this word being used on radio. It's outdated. You think that it's sort of? Do you think when radio stations ban lyrics in obviously musicians' songs, do you think it helps when the actual artist comes out to sort of justify the sort of radio station banning it, or do you think it just makes the people that get offended by the people get offended more offended?
Yeah, well, I mean, Shane McGowan coming out saying that obviously, helps the cause, but it's obviously people see it as offensive to a certain category of people. But if people from the LGBTQ community have turned around and said that they don't take offence to it, and people are kicking off about it, it's not, their word to take ownership of and kick off about. I think it's just, another one of them things. People are bored this year, so let's find something to pick at, something else to, rally at.
Well, I mean, so people have got so bored this year that, well, I can't describe what most people have done getting bored, because obviously in this country we've had so much manifestations of boredom. And me joining this podcast is one of those. And no offense to Harry and Dan, by the way. I love being in this podcast. I didn't do it out of boredom.
He nearly dug his head into an hole then.
It's just what have you been doing, like, to sort of not being bored during lockdown? And you can't say writing the songs, because that'll just be cheating.
What have I been doing?
I've been running.
Oh yeah, Mike's a fitness freak now, isn't he? Yeah.
You've been posting your 10K on your story each time you've went running, Matty.
No, I didn't put it on my story.
Yeah, but if you didn't put it in your story, Matty, it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, true.
That's the rule, isn't it?
That is the rule.
No, it is the rule.
You could run in like a surf suit thing, don't you, as well? So you sweat more.
Makes you sweat more.
So you're an actual So you actually are invested in running as a hobby. Then you're not just one of these people that decided to hop on a trend to post pictures of them doing 10K on the stories.
No, I was just getting fat, so I decided to lose some weight.
It's like Forrest Gump.
I really appreciate those two there, because obviously what you've done, Matt, you've sort of, that inspires people like me to actually just embrace the fact that we are gaining weight over lockdown, and that we need to do something about it, rather than just using the excuse of, I just thought I'd post some story, or a certain Instagram challenge. So I appreciate the honesty there, Matty.
I never thought anyone would call Matthew Barron an inspiration, but there we have it. That's a Talk Tonight podcast exclusive for you all.
It is a Talk Tonight exclusive. It is a Talk Tonight podcast exclusive.
Frozen.
Talk Tonight Hall of Fame. Matthew Barron is in that Talk Tonight Hall of Fame.
Put it in my bio.
Yeah, you have to put it in your bio.
Put it on the CV. You need to include it with NCS as well on your CV.
NCS.
But Kurt, what about you? What have you been doing that made you less bored, other than studying and writing songs? Obviously, I know that doesn't make you. I know that studying doesn't really make you feel gratified. So I mean,
a lot more sleeping. Just sort of like sleeping at odd times. Drinking, obviously. Aren't we all though? We've all been.
I mean, for those that for those that follow Kurt's Instagram, and I'm amongst one of these here, right? You'll notice that Kurt puts in a story a bottle of Buckfast every single time he's drinking.
I like that you've took notice of that. Just a little Easter egg. You know what I mean? I like to keep things thematic.
Another Easter egg for our listeners and viewers of Kurt, the Kurt Coop, the frontman of the Outcharms, is that he has a very broad and varied music taste.
Extremely broad and varied. I like how the listeners are gonna say Matt is an inspiration, and I've got decent music taste. That's probably about it.
Matthew's in one of those influences. But one thing that I'm intrigued by, Kurt, and this is one thing that I feel so compelled to bring up, is you listen to drill music.
I do.
Drill music.
Yeah.
To Billy Bragg.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Music's subjective, and you take different things from. I mean, I can't really relate to any of the lyrics in the drill songs, but I mean, I like what it is. It's punk, innit? It's kicking back.
Well, is this going to give us an idea, or give our listeners and viewers an idea that the Outcharms will be releasing some drill music in the new year?
If I could get Matty and Ross on a drill track, then I would. But I don't think they're as keen. As keen as that.
Matty is the personification of drill, because he's got his Union Jack in his background. He's got his he wears his sweat suit whilst they're running. Just
Matty. We could just do the video of Matty in his sweatsuit, just like spitting about running in front of his Union Jack. That's a new direction, you know what I mean? No other bands have gone in that direction. So yeah, you heard it here first. We're doing a drill track.
It's See, for all of you that don't know, I'm now giving bands marketing advice.
He's gonna want a cut. You're gonna have to name your percentage.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my quote.
Send us an email about the figures, and we'll get them looked over.
Yeah. We'll chat over that over a nice few glasses of Buckfast. One of the most. It's that drink that makes people talk about have a sane conversation with each other. So yeah, we'll discuss it over.
It sounds like a brilliant idea.
Buckfast, but because I've never tried Buckfast, which is quite surprising.
Yeah, you know.
I'm more from Scotland than you are. But just what is so special about Buckfast? I know that obviously if you're from Scotland, you love it because it's like the national drink of Scotland. But why does someone from like Doncaster love Buckfast so much?
It's an acquired taste, but as Matty says, in layman's terms, it does the job. It's not something you can just drink though. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't look forward to sitting down with a nice chilled glass of it. You've got to be pretty on a wavelength before you start drinking it. But yeah, it does the job. I mean, ask anyone in Glasgow.
Have you ever tried? Now on the subject of drinks, and I'll get you to name your top 5 bevs. If anyone that's watching or listening knows me, I normally ask the people that come on this podcast to list their 5, the top 5 beverages, alcoholic or unalcoholic. I'll be looking forward to that in a bit because obviously I know Buckfast is going to be on there for both of them.
I'm gonna have to start making a list now. That's a very hard question.
But have you ever tried? Have you ever tried the craft ales? But not just the craft ales that have that taste like ice cream or bubblegum.
I run an agenda against all that weird ale stuff. I'm against it.
The agenda then?
I just don't. Do you know what I mean? I just don't see the point. Why do I want a drink that tastes like fucking chocolate orange? I'll just eat a chocolate orange. I don't want to drink a 8.4% chocolate orange stout. What's that about?
Give it a go.
You know what I mean? And pay about £8 for it in a pathetic glass. Brewdog wind me up, right? I'm declaring war on Brewdog, actually.
I know. Being one of those, being one of the troops of Brewdog, and I know a lot of people that are loyal to Brewdog. We say bring it on,
that's a war then? We've officially started a war.
Brewdog's expanding at a very it's expanding at a very increasing rate, whereas Buckfast, it's only, and I'm not calling you a smackhead, right?
How's it come to this? Well, go on.
The other reason that Buckfast is popular is because of Trainspotting.
No, that's maybe. But,
and in Trainspotting, what is Trainspotting about? Trainspotting is about heroin addicts.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, yes, Buckfast might not be growing at a rapid rate like Brewdog is, but it's a cult classic. You know what I mean? Not a cult classic, not bestseller, as the wise man once said.
I mean, but it is a cult classic, like many drinks like John Smith's and Worthington's. But
Taddies.
Can't beat Taddies. It's
can't beat a pint of Taddy. Sam Smith's.
I love Sam Smith. Yeah, I love
Ross.
Sam.
Ross loves it. If Ross were here now, he'd be chewing your ear off about a pint of Taddies about Sam Smith's. He absolutely lives and breathes it.
The thing is, though, most people don't know how much of a big brand Samuel Smith's is.
It's a massive brewery, isn't it?
Wetherspoons and I mean, it's sort of you see the pubs everywhere if you're from up here because
Yeah, Sam Smith's Brews is all over, isn't it? No.
But some of the pubs is just like
you can't get your phones out, can you?
Yeah, exactly. You can't get your phones out, and there's no music, there's no telly. It's perfect. The one that I know, the Linthorpe. In the summer, that's beautiful because it's just a big. It's got like a massive beer garden.
Yeah.
That's not like a man-made beer garden, but more like it's got a feel not like a field, but it's got like patches of grass.
Yeah, proper old school.
Yeah, proper old school. I mean, that's
what you want out of a pub, don't you?
Yeah, you don't
like a proper old, like a working men's club. They're your best kind of booze.
Yeah. Well, obviously that's for all those listeners and viewers down south. You won't know what a working men's club is.
The north-south divide is stronger this year than ever before, isn't it?
It is, and obviously, we were taught. We obviously when we were breaking the ice before we started recording, we were talking about like the Teed system and like how that's the north-south divide. I mean, you've got the northern, you've got like an outsurging northern independence, happening now. Would the Outcharms perform an anthem for the north?
We're very pro North, aren't we, Matty? Yeah, I think that's the one thing out of all our wide, views on politics and life and Buckfast. One thing we agree on unanimously is that we are very much for the North. We are children of the North. Children of the North.
Well, the thing is with obviously because we are perceived as just getting drunk all the
time. I mean, it's not a massively far off perception, but
I mean, obviously, one thing that they don't know, what Southerners don't know about us Northerners, is that when we're bored during the week, we get our sweatsuit on.
Yes, that is exactly right, and that's what Southerners need to do. We need to get some Buckfast, get a sweatsuit, put some jewelry on, and just go jogging like Matty does.
And they need to look at Matthew Barron as their inspiration of life. He's going to, at this rate, because of how much we're bigging you up here, Matty, you're going to have to bring out a book next Christmas on how you just do it.
How to be me.
A guide by Matty Barron.
Like a 10-step, like a blueprint.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's only one Matty Barron, isn't there? Come on.
Yeah, couldn't recreate this.
You can't recreate this.
Right, so whilst we're dusting off, whilst we're polishing off your plaque in the Torchlight Hall of Fame, we'll just put that, quote in. You never recreate this.
I can't believe you just said that.
No one can ever be like the legend Matty Barron.
Look at that. His head's expanding with each compliment. Look.
That's good.
If he gets any bigger, Jesus.
I'll not be able to fit your
sweatsuit
over it.
But yeah, because even in the bands, the north south of the band is apparent because obviously, we just whenever obviously I say we, I mean you as the talented ones. I'm the one who's just talking copious amounts of crap. But one thing that bands like yourselves and bands that I listen to and most of my mates listen to, all we talk about is the north, the town that we're from. The reminiscent of the sort of days that we weren't even born in, that our parents were alive in.
Yeah.
Down south, they are so, and I'm not declaring a civil war here, by the way. I'm not the person to do that. But I do apologise to any of our listeners and viewers from down south. But the thing is, with the south, because I'm not just generalising because I know most parts of the south are just like us, but some Southerners just don't know how to have a good time, and that's how some Southerners have see. I've noticed this about many people, many artists from down south, is that they don't talk, they don't sing about just getting wired, watching the footy.
I mean, yeah, because they're too busy trying to be Northerners, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's one thing that came to my attention this week was I shared obviously I saw this doing the rounds on Instagram in my own social media bubble, and it's the fetishize how people
I was reading that last night. Yeah, the fetishization of the working class.
Yeah, exactly, and
yeah.
Just this is from all three of us, by the way. We don't just wear wetsuits for the crack of it.
Funny, look, there's very good reasoning behind putting that wetsuit on and hitting the streets in the way that Matty does.
Hit the streets of Doncaster.
And he's not going to explain himself to anyone, any Southerner or Northerner. Me and Matthew.
By the way, if you were listening earlier, because obviously yours talking about this might have diverted your attention from it. Matty's got a book that's only coming out next year.
Trying to get the pre-orders in.
Keep freezing.
Get the pre-orders in. It's Matty's big manifesto, Matty Barron's Big Beat manifesto. But
wetsuits are the best. Run all the time.
What do you think about Matty though? I'm going to give you the space now. I'm going to give you the time now.
This is dangerous. Do not give him any airtime.
No, I want to give him some time. Matty, right? Explain to our listeners and viewers how they can be like Matty Barron going into 2021, and how they can live life like Matty Barron going into 2021.
I didn't hear the question. It froze again.
Oh, God, Matty, how can people be more like you going into 2021? Well, the question.
Sleep a lot. Run. Drink. That's about it.
Those iconic quotations.
Might get put on the wall.
Not like live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
Put your version.
Stop giving Don't get live, laugh, love on your wall. Sleep. Drink.
You've got to have the ... for the pauses where you have to think really, intensely about sleep, drink,
and run.
Run.
Oh, the amount of times that we've been talking about this wetsuit over
it's proper diverted. Do you know what I mean?
It's diverted from the actual questions, which are Matty. So when you go back and tour, then can you actually bring out the wetsuit and wear it on stage rather than just teasing people about what the wetsuit actually is?
Tell you what, right? I'll make a declaration now without his consent. If we sell the O2 Academy out, I'll make him wear it on stage.
I wonder if he heard that. Did you hear that, Matty?
Did you hear that, Matty?
Wear it on stage.
Yeah. Do you agree? Do you agree? If we sell the O2 out,
yeah, I'll do that.
Right, you've heard it here first. Done deal.
If you're going to see the Outcharms at the O2, you've got that to look forward to. And if you're not going to the
buy a ticket to see that, even if you don't like us, you want to see Matty doing his thing.
You know what? After this, I might just go and buy a ticket.
You should get a big firm together and come and see the boys.
But yeah, obviously, because the thing is with 2020, obviously you have a few singles and EPs out.
Yeah.
But when do you think it's gonna be time, like as a band, then to actually release like a full track listed album?
We get asked this a lot. You've got to. I know you don't really have to be signed nowadays. You know what I mean? You don't really need a record label. You can do a lot of things yourself, but I think an album's something that you need a record label for. You know what I mean? You need to be at that stage where it's going to be received well. I mean, we're working on something big next year, but you know, it's not an album.
It's not Wetsuit Merch, is it? That you're working on next year?
Well, now we've been rumbled. It's not a surprise anymore. But no, we're working on that, and you know, trying to get all that together, like the content side of it as well as the music, and you know, just trying to do something a little bit different to what every other band's doing, because it's easy just to, you know, lump a load of songs together with a photo you send in black and white on the front, but that's not what we're about. I sort of want to push it a little bit further.
Yeah. Because obviously you talk about bands, you know, the sort of trend is not being to be unsigned in this sort of day.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of your neighbours, you know, the one and only, the Sherlocks, they built a reputation about this big unsigned band over the course of the early days, and then they go and do an advert for is it Toyota or Hyundai?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
Skoda, wasn't it? Maybe
Skoda. That were it. Matty knows.
Honda.
Skoda.
Oh.
Yeah.
But to me, like personally, I love my. And I'm not. This is not anything against the Sherlock City, but I love my. Like, I do love it. I do love the authenticity when it comes to unsigned bands and bands that like are all about do it yourself. But when the Sherlocks built a name about being unsigned, when they're releasing the biggest tracks, and then they went on to do, you know, a car advert, and then they just like laid low for a while. It was a bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my own, you know, sort of thoughts and feelings about the Sherlocks, but we went to watch them loads, like before that first album. You know, we used to go all over to watch them. We used to follow them. Went to when they played Victoria Warehouse, which is like one of the biggest gigs of their career. Where we were there, we all went. Big massive group of us, had a very good laugh and that. And then, you know, they can't be the band that did that first album all their lives, can they? You know what I mean? They've got to. And if someone were going to offer you an insane amount of money to do a car advert, I don't care what morals you say that you've got, you take the money and you do the car advert. So I can't knock them for it, really. You know what I mean? They're doing their.
And this is, I see. The thing is, this is very, this is like a very common like trope amongst bands from South Yorkshire. But I remember the Art Monkeys. A lot of people slated them for their recent album when that was released, Tranquility Place, Hotel. And you can't really expect a band like the Art Monkeys to be like how they were back in 2006.
It's like, you know what I mean? No, it's like when you hear Noel Gallagher and sing Oasis songs. You know what I mean? He's not young and working class and angry anymore. It doesn't really sit well with me. I much prefer him for having, you know, the spine to do his newer stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and like exploring that, because he's not 19-year-old and he's not on dole anymore, and he's not. You can't expect people to,
you
know, to tread water forever just because that's what makes people happy. And if you even think about, you know, doing something like that, just playing, you know, preaching to the convert constantly, then, you know what I mean? What's the point? What's the point in it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you obviously, I know that one thing that I won't be happy about though if you get successful is if the wetsuit goes. That will be if the sweatsuit goes when you become popular, and that's just complete disregard of your morals.
I mean, can it ever really leave, or can it just adapt, and evolve? Evolve is the word that I'm looking for. Evolve.
You have to evolve and adapt. Actually, when you become big, because Matty, all you have to do is just design more. You have to stitch in more pockets in the sweatsuit.
Yeah, that's what we need.
New merch direction.
We need more, sweatsuit based indie bands. In my opinion. Well, in Matty's opinion. We've sort of been sidetracked by this fucking wetsuit.
I think it's a unanimous opinion there that you need more sweatsuit based bands, because I don't think any other bands looked into it really. And come on, we've had a hell of a year. We deserve to see your sweatsuits.
That's a national call to everyone in the country, not just.
It is a national call. It's what is going to right. It'll unite. It'll unite North South. It'll unite the classes. It'll unite the country in wearing.
Yeah, in the same way that the consumption of Buckfast will, divide. It'll just rip it all apart again.
Like Buckfast, sweatsuits. And Matthew Barron is what we need going into 2021. But
that's all I want.
Thank you, Kurt. But anyway, I do try to give some inspirational speeches in this call. But as I'm in the same call as Matty, I can't really be classed as.
You can't. You know what I mean? The modern man.
But before I wrap up what was supposed to be a Christmas episode, which is now a wetsuit episode, I did say, this is a promise to our viewers and listeners, is I want to know what your top 5 bevs are, unalcoholic or alcoholic.
Right, in particular order or no particular order? Because that does, what I mean? Can we go no? Let's go no particular.
I have no authority in this call because Matty's in this call, so I mean, just.
Yeah, Matty's took charge. Right, what non-particular order?
Not particular order.
Right, top 5.
Vodka Red Bulls will be one.
Right, that's a good shout. Buckfast, obviously. Tea. Yorkshire tea.
Kronenberg.
Yes.
Kronenberg.
No, I don't think anyone that I've ever spoken to said Kronenberg before, but it is a night. It goes with night.
Iconic. Watch this space. Kronenberg. Yorkshire tea. Luke said original. You know what I mean? Unpopular opinion. I think it is the best flavour.
It's not quite a lot. Luke said original, though, but it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. Iron Brew.
Oh, beautiful.
This is more than 5 here. We're just naming. We've gone off scale. We're just naming drinks that we like.
We'll just knock the 5, but we'll just name.
Cheeky Vimto.
Yeah, you can't beat Vimto. I mean, Ribena, if you're going along those lines, though.
The cheeky Vimto, which is WKD and port.
Ruby
Port and WKD. It tastes like alcoholic Vimto.
Never heard of the cheeky Vimto before.
What we used to do when we used to go to gigs in the hotel, we used to put the plug in the sink and make the cocktail into the sink, and then just all go in with straws and drink it out of the hotel sink.
I'm gonna try that.
It's got to be. It doesn't taste the same in a glass as it does in the Travelodge sink, though. So you know what I mean. You've got to serve it correctly.
But the actual drink, Vimto, well, you got to serve it. That's another thing. You're coming out with great merch ideas here. You got the sweatsuit. You got the cheeky Vimto. I mean,
cheeky Vimto. I reckon we could probably trademark all these things, even though they are intensely popular already.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, have you tried that actually, Kurt? That cheeky Vimto.
Cheeky Vimto. It's again another one of Matthew Barron's brilliant ideas.
There have been many.
We should put that in the Talk Tonight Hall of Fame as well as Matty, the cheeky Vimto.
Yep.
I think that should be the official drink of Talk Tonight. Obviously, I don't have any word on what the official drink is, but I mean, cheeky Vimto, come on.
You know what I mean? This Christmas, have a cheeky Vimto, for the NHS and for Matty and all the other heroes in the world. Well, enjoy cheeky Vimto.
Before we go, for Matty Barron and for the rest of the Outcharms.
Matt is now the unofficial spokesperson.
But as well as like just for anyone, and even for me, like I've been, I provide your ears with crap.
With a quality service, don't beat yourself up.
Oh, jeez, Kurt. Oh, my heart. Nicest thing that's probably the nicest thing that any of our guests have said on this. Well, I'm not going to knock any other guests because they've been brilliant, and
big up the rest of the guests.
Just big up the rest of the scene really, because it's been amazing how you just pull together.
Big us all up, everyone in the industry, because you know what I mean. It's not an easy time. All the blogs, all the artists, podcasts, sound men, venue owners, bar staff, everyone who made everything that we've loved before and will continue to love special.
Well, as we go into 2021, and as we may be thinking about when are we going to see when we're going to see Matty in a sweatsuit, when I know we're going to get
a question on everyone's lips.
That will be the question on everyone's lips. But before you ask yourself that question, go into 2021, and also on Christmas as well, make sure I have a cheeky vimp door and raise a glass to the music industry, because the industry, for an industry that's been, that's getting pretty much getting fucked.
Essentially.
The way that people have come together from all kinds of industry, I do this podcast, I do sort of big up bands in the industry, and you've got the various blogs out there, and you've got the lads here. It's just that's all I ask for. I ask our viewers and listeners, make sure have a drink on the industry.
Here, I second that one.
What do you say about that, Matty? Do you think they should wear a sweatsuit whilst doing it though?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm off me.
Right.
But anyway, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Cheers for having us. It's our first podcast, so first podcast, isn't it, Matty? I think. In your ears is more of an interview, more of a video, but first proper podcast. So cheers for having us.
Oh, cheers for coming on, mate. Obviously,
it's been a pleasure.
There's no better way than being on your first podcast than being on Talk Tonight.
Exactly.
But no,
that's the way everyone should, enter into the realm of the podcast.
But it's been great. It's been great having you both on. Before I wrap this all up, I want to say to our viewers and listeners, thanks for supporting us this year. Thanks for supporting us over one of the most monumental events to ever happen in the human race for over 100 years. But yeah, thank you. A big thank you to everyone, and a big thank you to yourselves for coming on. And I from Talk Tonight, and I can assume that Kurt and Matty, especially Matty, wishes you a happy Christmas. But if we're talking about Matty, he wants you to have a happy Christmas in style.
Yeah, cheers for having us, and hope you all have a good Christmas over at Talk Tonight. Everyone who's listening and that, and hopefully we can get together in 2021 in a pub or a venue, or over a cheeky vimto.
Over a cheeky vimto, it has to be out the sink though. So we'll just go. We'll just have to wait until.
Yeah, we'll just book a travel lodge.
Yeah. See, I have no idea with that, but yeah, it's been great having you on, and thanks to our viewers and listeners for supporting us throughout the year, and Merry Christmas. You feel
Merry Christmas.
And have a new year. And remember to live life in 2021 like Matthew Barron.
That's the way forward. Cheers for having us.